Hi, I'm J. Lenora Bressler, and welcome to the August 2019 edition of the Bible Delight in the Details. Today we're going to look at Luke chapter 4, verse 30. I have a good friend, his name's Lee Burrows, and he does similar devotionals like Delight in the Details. And if you're not subscribed to his channel, you really should be, because he puts some good stuff out there. That's Lee Burrows, Burrows. But I bring that up because I was listening to his latest version, and he was talking about Luke chapter 4. And Luke chapter 4 is the story of where Jesus, relatively early in his ministry, goes back to his hometown, and they get stinking mad at him and actually are trying to kill him. They literally are trying to throw him off a cliff. And in verse 30 of chapter 4, it says, and he passed through the center of them and went on his way. Now, we don't know exactly what happened there, but that doesn't matter. It's not how it happened, it's that it happened. And what's very striking there is that, Jesus knew that he was ultimately going to be killed, that he would ultimately be the sacrifice for mankind. But it wasn't at that time. And he knew that. He knew that his time for that had not yet come. He was now in the time of his ministry. But in the fullness of time, just as the fullness of time had brought him to the earth and the fullness of time had brought him to his earthly ministry, so too it would be in the fullness of time, God's providence, God's time, where he would be killed. So what is fascinating about this really arresting a story of chapter 4 is just the peace, the tranquility, the just, I'm just going on my little way, kind of nature that Jesus exhibited here. And the reason that I picked up on this as I was listening to Lee's statements and explanation of this chapter is this. It reminded me of something that just happened recently. Tristan, my son, turned to me one day recently in the car, and he said, just out of the blue, as sometimes he does, he says, Mom, I'm immortal. And I said, oh, really? So are you like a Roman emperor? You've been deified before you're dead? I mean, is that what's going on here? And he goes, oh, no. He said, no, I'm immortal until I have fulfilled the purpose that God has set for me. So, people could try to get to me, could try to kill me, somebody could try to run me down, but he said, until God is done with me on this earth, I'm actually immortal. And, many of you know that Tristan has political ambitions and all, and he really wants to do great things for God, for the nation, etc. And, this scares me to death, especially in the current political climate. And he reassures me, Mom, nobody is going to hurt me unless and until God is through with me and I've fulfilled my purpose. And, I thought to myself, to the child of God, that is true. Think about that. That's a glorious thought. We think we're in this world full of chances and random happenings and things that can happen to you. And you don't tempt your God. You don't go jumping off the temple to show that God's going to save you because your time has not yet come. The devil tried to tempt Jesus to that in the wilderness, and he wasn't having none of that. But I'm not saying be reckless, but I'm saying that, I think Tristan's got a handle on something. Any Christian can say the same thing. First of all, they're immortal in the sense that we will live on. There is life after death. We believe this. But we're also immortal even in this life until God decides it's time to take us out. And up until that time, we are immortal. That doesn't mean we're stupid about it. That doesn't mean we take risks. But what a glorious thought and what a glorious way to live. To know that God is going to keep us functioning in a way that's going to meet his goals, meet his will, fulfill his will of what our destiny is to be here in this world. And until that is completed, we cannot be killed. And that is the truth. God is the God of the living and the dead. He is the one that says when that transition is going to take place. And that's a glorious thought. That should make all of us brave, not reckless, but brave, courageous, and excited about life. We don't need to be cowering in a corner, scared of everything, anxious about everything. How many times are you that way? I know a lot of times I'm that way. But think about it. We're in that sense, we are kind of like Jesus, in the sense that we all have a purpose. We all have a reason that we are here and things that God wants us to accomplish. And until the time that that has been fulfilled, we are not going to die. And if we have indeed fulfilled the purpose that God has set for us in this life, then what fear do we have of death? It's a glorious thought, and I'll tell you, as I was sitting there in that driver's seat, listening to my son tell me he's immortal until he has done what he has been sent to do and what his purpose of life is, I thought, more power to you, boy, and may we all understand that that is inherently true for all of us who are God's children. God will fulfill his will through us. And until then, there's nothing anybody else can do to stop us. I'm J. Lenora Bressler, bringing you that word of encouragement and courage today. Have a great night.